and welcome back to another edition of Rebelwatch. We are so excited to be back this semester after a long break. But I'm your host, Cameron Hass, and alongside me is NewsWatch sports anchor Jayson Kern and sports reporter Graeme Farrell. There's a lot going on in the world of sports. It's officially Super Bowl week. College basketball season is in full swing. And speaking of, both the men's and women's Rebel basketball teams are on track to make an NCAA tournament appearance. But starting things with the men, they do seem to be the talk of the town. You know, they have all the hype around them and everything. What do you think so far of Coach Beard's inaugural season?
It's good to be back with you guys, just to say. Good to be back. And just like being back, we can say I believe Ole Miss basketball is back. Chris Beard has done an amazing job so far. He said in the beginning of the season to have high expectations for us fans, because he said that the best thing that he can do is he can talk a lot, but doing it is a lot harder, and he's done it. He's done a great job. You know, we only have one loss at home, 13-1 with our home record. That's hey, he's building a culture. And fans waiting 5 hours before the game just to get in, students, that's awesome.
Crazy.
And like the whole arena just being filled, we haven't seen that in a while from the Oxford community, because, you know, it's been just a little bit trial and error recently with basketball, but they're doing a great job. Right now, we're projected to be a 9 seed with basketball. Coming off the South Carolina loss, that was tough. It was difficult, very close game. I would say it's hard to beat a team when they shoot 70% from the field in one half. But Alan Flanagan is one player that I believe that has really stepped up for this team throughout the year. He had 26 points in that game. He basically willed us to the end. And talking about the end, I do believe Matthew Morrell was fouled, but nothing that we can do. It's going to have to just move on, refocus on the next game versus, the Big Blue Nation, Kentucky. That's going to be difficult. Going into Rupp Arena is one of already the hardest things to do in college basketball. But they have actually been very vulnerable at home this year with 3 losses, 2 of them coming in the past week, and one being to Tennessee and one being to Texas A&M. Hey, we went on the road and beat Texas A&M. So I hope our boys can, we got to stop this team in transition. We can't allow them to get fast breaks, and it's going to be a very hard match.
Yeah, when you bring up Al Flanagan, fantastic game. We were waiting for a big breakout game for Flanagan. Shot 11 for 15, which usually he takes a lot of head-scratching shots, but they looked very efficient, and a lot of them are going in. One of the biggest head-scratchers in that South Carolina game, don't get me wrong, losing by 3 on the road at South Carolina for a team that's now was unranked to go right to 15. They went to Tennessee, beat them. They just have a lot of great wins under their belt. And to only lose by 3 was great. But when you look at the end of that game, where was Juju Murray? It was crazy because we ended the game shooting 1 for 9 down the stretch. And we only lost by 3, so it was like, yeah, I know Austin Nunez played a lot of really good defense in the end. But we could have used 1 or 2 more buckets there down the stretch. I was thinking about that a little bit. And also during the season, there's some stretches where Cisse and Sharp don't even see the court. And I'm like, you got to at least have one of them in there at a time, because when you start to look at
it's really confusing.
It really is. And when they're on the bench, that's when you start to see the teams pull away. Auburn, they're both on the bench. Broom from Auburn just manhandled Brakefield under the hoop, and that's what he did against Alabama a couple nights ago. He just manhandled it. That's when you have 2 guys over 7 feet. Why are they sitting on the bench after the game? That's a big head scratcher. Again, Chris Beard, it's his first year. He's done absolutely fantastic. He's changing the entire culture, literally. And again, Kentucky's coming up next. It's coming up Tuesday. Yeah, they just lost in overtime to Florida. They lost to Tennessee, like you said. Thing is, their defense is really what kills them. And Ole Miss has been playing some good offense versus some pretty good defenses recently. The one thing against Kentucky is you can't let them go on a run, because if Reed Shepherd and Dillingham and Reeves all get hot, it's going to be over before it starts.
True, very true. I do agree with that. And talking about the bench with the South Carolina game, we had only one person, Jamarian Sharp. He was the only person to score off the bench, 6 points. And we had Brandon Murray, who played 28 minutes, didn't score a single point. And talking about that stretch where we went 1 for 19, 5 minutes in the second half where you don't score a point, you can't expect to win a basketball game.
4 threes the entire game.
Yeah.
4
Right.
threes.
And that's what I believe.
4 threes.
We got to shoot better against Kentucky. We got to be able to shoot behind the arc to actually win.
It wasn't that we didn't shoot a lot of three. We just didn't. Yeah, that's it. We just didn't shoot a lot of
we
threes.
didn't shoot.
And seemingly in the first half, like it seemed like South Carolina couldn't miss. They just drained every shot they took from beyond the arc, and that's when they pulled it away. But Ole Miss kept their composure, down by 16 in the second half, came all the way back and almost had a chance to take the lead, down 2. But yeah, a lot of really positive signs. It stinks because they're 18-5, but they're 9th in the SEC. Because that's when you have the cakewalk of a schedule before SEC play, and then you get humbled a little bit in SEC play.
You have to adjust a bit.
You have to adjust.
Yeah.
And looking at the schedule ahead, South Carolina comes here. We go to Kentucky, but the rest is Missouri, A&M we host. It's more doable if you could beat South Carolina once, or even go into Kentucky and beat them, win one of those two. I think you punch your ticket.
Yeah, and I think obviously, like you said, Ole Miss has been dominating at home, struggling more so on the road. We had that win against A&M. They, had the close loss against South Carolina. They've obviously, I feel like within the last few home games have been able to change that, not losing mentality, but more so giving themselves a better chance. Why do you think that is?
I believe that Chris Beard saw in the games where we were getting blown out, we just weren't being physical enough. We were just getting dominated around in the paint, and just guys weren't shooting their shots. We were playing too much isolation. Our set plays just weren't working well. And I believe now with these games, it's getting closer because we are being more physical, and the guys are having more heart. They're understanding that it's getting later in the year, and these games mean more and more as they play them.
Yeah, and with our offense, sometimes against Auburn, there'll be possessions where Flanagan will just hold the ball for 20 seconds. I'm like, we got to run some sort of offense here because it's going to just be shot clock violation after shot clock violation. Again, this team is so brand new. You look at earlier in the season, they barely beat a Detroit Mercy team that still has no wins. Yeah. They barely beat Sam Houston. It's a team that's in their first year, Chris Beard in their first year. Don't sweat. It's just, there's a lot of positive.
Yeah.
They do have fun.
They do.
What coach wins a natty in their first year? None.
I can't name
none.
But absolutely none.
Tournament appearance is very
That's a win.
in reach.
That is
a win compared to where
on the
we're coming
record.
from.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Lady Rebs and the women's basketball team and how their season is panning out.
It's that time of the year again, fellas. When the mornings are hot, the afternoons are hotter, and football is on its way back. Now, games is won by the battles fought in August. Everyone that's not revered as an Ole Miss legend has been in your shoes before, trying to survive that Mississippi heat, competing for a spot, and knowing the sacrifice that it takes to make it in this league. You go into this money collection of men from 100 different places, and if you work, you emerge from it as one team with one goal and one heartbeat. The SEC awaits you. And if they don't know who you are now, they will soon.
Where are we gonna go? Someplace warm. A place where the beer flows like wine. Where beautiful women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm talking about a little place called
Oxford, Mississippi. To see it is to believe it. You hear about it, but you just have to see the party. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grove.
The sound and fury are here. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Getting out of toe down. Pageantry, the pride, the pomp is unmatched and unrivaled.
The stadium has come unhinged.
This is what college football is all about.
Oh, as he gets walloped.
No coach is having more fun than MJ.
This is the place to be in college football right now.
Welcome back to Rebelwatch. Well, the women's basketball team has, now in the middle of their season, I guess, if you will. They had a lot of preseason hype around them. They were ranked pretty high. How do you think that it's panned out so far? Do you think they're performing above expectations, below? What do you think?
So it's hard to compare it to last year's team that went to the Sweet 16 because it's not an easy accomplishment. But you can see that throughout the years, Coach Yo and her squad are just getting better and better. And when you look at this year so far, 16-6 overall. We're third in the SEC, which I think is very, very good because when you look at there's LSU, South Carolina, those are two of the best teams in the nation. So to be third in the SEC is a total win in my book. They beat Florida at home, a little bit of controversy after the game. They beat Tennessee the game after, and then went to South Carolina, and who beat South Carolina in their own house?
Right,
Absolutely
that was a
nobody.
hard ass.
Down 2 after the first quarter, down 8 at halftime. That is such a win in my book. South Carolina went to halftime, realized who they are, and just pulled away. That's beside the fact. It's Dawn Staley. She is just the face of women's basketball. They're going to probably win 8 more national championships in the next 10 years. And good for them. That's super cool. There's just changing women's sports. But I just feel like when you have a team with such power like South Carolina, it takes away from the Ole Miss success. It's like, oh my God, this team's rolling, and they get plowed by a team like South Carolina. It's like, don't take it away from how good this team has actually been.
Yeah.
This team won the Battle for Atlantis, beat Michigan in the championship. They have a lot of really good wins under their belt. They went to Vanderbilt and beat them, which Vanderbilt is insanely underrated because they went to state. They had to win. They have a couple really, really big wins, and this team is just constantly building their resume. And I just feel like with Madison Scott, Snuda Collins, Marquisha Davis, you could see that in the beginning of the year there wasn't really a lot of chemistry, but watching them play now, they're starting to have something with everything surrounding Coach Yo. It's
definitely starting to click more.
It really is.
Coming together.
It really is.
Yeah, I would say Marquisha Davis and Snuda Collins, like you said, they've been actually coming together and clicking. They're both actually just 100 points away from breaking 1,000 points in their Ole Miss career, which is incredible for them. Also, shout out to Coach O, because if the team does win 2 more games, they will win 8 SEC games, which will be the 3rd season in a row. Never been done in Ole Miss women's basketball history, so got to give a shout out to her for that. Keep them going. Let's get to that 8 wins. Look for history.
Yeah, and I guess why some people are saying they're not underperforming, but not beating the South Carolina. I think people this year maybe thought that we're going to win against the South Carolinas, the LSUs of the world. But I mean, they're still doing really well, and I think they kind of struggled there a little bit during the first half of the season, but they've definitely found their groove, it seems.
Oh yeah, they found their groove. They're playing good basketball, like you said. They're a good basketball team. Don't take it away from them that they got beat by this powerhouse of group. It's just like Georgia versus Ole Miss in football.
Right.
It's just they
it's
have better athletes.
I think they can do it, but then
they played hard. They played well. It's just sometimes you get beat at your own game, and it's frustrating. But Coach O is going to bounce back.
And I feel like a little piece of why people are starting to throw Ole Miss under the radar, at least as Coach Yo likes to say, the Oxford community. The Ole Miss men's basketball team sets a student attendance record at the Pavilion. And then the very next night they host Florida, and little to no fans showed up. So she showed some clear frustration after the game, how the Oxford community needs to catch up, and there's a whole press conference that you can look at online of just how frustrated she was. Even after a win, she goes to shake Florida head coach's hand, and she just looks all grumpy, and you just wonder what's going on. And then she comes in the press conference and explains everything. The Tennessee game, was that following Sunday. Definitely more fans, but not as much as she wanted. But when you look at the attendance and how women's sports are growing, before the men's game for state, where they had 10,000 plus fans, they set up a pavilion record.
They
with
set the record before the men did.
9,000 fans, and that stadium was absolute. And this is an underrated stat. School was nowhere near in session. There was no students in town. That was the Oxford community coming together, and it was LSU. Yeah,
they wanted to see the star power.
Angel Reese, Mary Van Lith, the list goes on. But again, it's that's what and the other thing is the men's team is now a good program, and it used to be the women's team is the basketball team at Ole Miss.
That was our basketball team. That was who we focused on.
Let's go, Coach Yo, make us a basketball school again. Now Beard out of nowhere, we're 18-5. It just stinks, and I understand where Coach Yo's frustration is coming from, because she used to fill up that arena pretty consistently, and now it's oh man, I don't want to go to both men's and women's games. It's a lot. Definitely
hard to get a lot of the attention taken off you when you were the attention, and now it's kind of split up, maybe a little bit leaning more towards towards the men, but I feel like that's just because it's Coach Beard's first year, and just all the excitement's there right now. But, if they make another big, NCAA tournament run, go deep like they did last year, all the excitement will be back.
It's
for sure.
But it's big because with her press conference and her taking the mic after the game.
I think people listened.
People listen because ESPN's posting her. She's like, a lot of you guys don't know my story, but I am an immigrant and I only know Oxford and I absolutely love this town. And that just, everyone caught on. It's like, that could only do
Everyone wants to back her.
That was only going to do positive things for the Ole Miss women's basketball program. And hats off to you, Coach Yeo. You're 16-10. People are acting like you're 10 and or 6-16. Like, we all have your back, and you're right. The Oxford community needs to catch up, and I couldn't agree more.
Are you going to any women's games coming up?
With the Mississippi State games coming up, I'm sure the stadium's
That's going to be huge. That's what I've heard.
Filled.
Yes,
absolutely filled.
Are you?
Oh, for sure. I'm going to that state game for sure. Rivalry game. You can't miss it.
You cannot miss it.
Yeah, I'll be there too. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Ole Miss football team and what Lane Kiffin is doing in the transfer portal. Sorry.
Ole Miss 18th NCAA tournament appearance.
This is fun, folks, as Baker's peeling it. Little heat check. Snow Collins for three. Rita!
Said, I love Madison Scott.
Ole Miss Rebels are having a lot of fun, and you can see why.
My passion is journalism. Here at the University of Mississippi, we produce a nightly half-hour newscast, broadcasting regionally on cable and globally on the World Wide Web. It's the kind of experience that is preparing me to walk into any news station in the country with the skills and abilities I need to succeed. So it's not just preparing me for the real world, it is the real world.
Do you love sports? Then you should know about STEM. Because maximizing nutrition, analyzing peak muscle performance, calculating the perfect shot, and more are all made possible by science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, there are more careers than ever in sports science. So if you have a passion for sports, then think about getting involved in STEM and improve everyone's game on and off the field. Get inspired at SheCanSTEM.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Welcome back to Rebelwatch. Well, the Ole Miss football team is obviously all the talk. They are coming off a big Peach Bowl win, and they're hoping to keep that winning mentality into next season. What did y'all think about their performance?
Oh, spectacular. Amazing. Couldn't have gone any better. I loved it.
And you were there?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was there. Had to support the boys. Jackson Dart, gotta love that guy. I'm so happy that he's coming back. Trey Harris, just the whole squad. Like, even Jordan Watkins playing hurt with his hand. Like, it just showed that this team cares about each other. And going into next season, it's going to be so special. I can't wait.
Yeah, and another big part of that game that a lot of people don't really know is Penn State had statistically the best defense in the nation. And yes, they had a couple opt-outs for the draft, but we put up 38 points on them. Abdul Carter still played. He's going to be the next Micah Parsons. He played fantastic. Dart had 3 touchdowns for 379 yards, which is so good. That first drive we had where he just got sacked on every play, I was like, man, this is going to be such
be a rough one.
a long game. And one thing that really just makes me so excited for next year is Caden Prescorn. What a game.
Yeah,
10
where had he
catches.
been all season? I mean, like, he was around, but, like,
it was the whole trick. It was like him and Trigger going back and forth, and he was also hurt. Now he's fully healthy, and he's the talk of the town for football, and because his whole family's going viral right now.
So cute.
Absolutely love how and even in those videos you see all, like, the chemistry is so good. Like, you have Jackson Dart, Walker Howard, and now Diego Pounds, the big lineman we got from North Carolina, who's going to be a huge impact, is also hanging out with them. So you show that this team has so much chemistry, and it's so much fun because Lane is one of the best coaches, just like personality-wise in college football. So when you have a group of guys with chemistry, and then you have a coach who just is right there with them, and it's just, you couldn't be any more excited. Like, it's just so. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting, and the team bonding situation is just stronger than ever, especially because everyone's coming back, and especially for those transfer portal guys, it's just easy for them to kind of glide in more when there's already a strong bond between everyone, I feel.
Yeah, just talking about the impact, like Lane Kiffin, we got to give it to him. Just portal king, no one's dethroning him. #1 transfer portal class, getting the #1 player in the transfer portal class, Walter Nolan. And he got also 3 top 25 overall prospects from the class. Also, 9 of them being being 4 stars or better. What this guy has done, with the transfer portal, the previous years and this year, it's amazing. It needs to be studied. It needs to be put into a book because he is a genius when it comes to it. Because he talks perfectly with it and he knows how to get guys here. Just some of the key names are like Chris Paul, coming out of Arkansas, a great middle linebacker that's going to be our guy. Also, Princely Umanulayan, one of the best edge rushers coming from Florida. Also, we've been needing 3 guys that need to protect Dart next year. Diego Pounds coming from North Carolina, as you said. Juice Wells, which is a receiver that will help complement with the passing game. We also have Nate Kalepo and Julius Bowen from Washington. Top line in the college football this year, you can't complain about that. You got guys that are going to be able to protect your quarterback.
Speaking of those 2 Washington guys, all 5 of those guys, 2 in the NFL, 1 went to Bama, and the other 2 are coming to Oxford. So when you look at how good our offense was last year, and now Dart, just an insane upgrade with the O-line, he's gonna be able to have a cup of tea sitting back there, throwing to Juice Wells, throwing to Trey Harris, Jordan Watkins. I was disappointed when Wade declared for the draft. I was like, man, I thought he was going to come back for another year. But it's just next man up. And one thing that I kind of worry about is Deion Smith is from JUCO, who went to LSU. He is so good. He's battling a couple great grades right now. He's failing a couple classes. So unfortunately, he's not going to join Ole Miss in the spring. That doesn't mean he's not going to join in the summer. And it's insane how much depth this team has. One of the things that really blew my mind was Quinshon Judkins going to Ohio State, and it's weird. It's weird because he's not even the #1 guy there. He's not even going to be the starter there. And Bentley, let's ride Bentley. I cannot wait to see what this guy does.
No, if we didn't have Bentley, then I would be really way more disappointed with Judkins leaving. But I'm not worried about it.
Well, we also got Logan Diggs, the running back out of LSU. He's supposed to be a pretty good running back, but Bentley, give me Bentley. Quinshon can go do his thing up north. Go ahead and be a running back too.
Have fun.
Go be with Ryan Day in the Big Ten.
Losing to Michigan for the 3rd straight year.
Yeah, with Bill O'Brien as your new offensive
coordinator.
coordinator.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started. Yeah.
Jeez.
Bentley's a little ball of energy. Like he has some touchdowns. Great. He's going crazy. All the guys love him. And with Logan Diggs' situation, he kind of killed us. Jaden Daniels killed us last year. But he had 2 touchdowns against us last year, and he's a physical running back. He's a physical running back. He's projected to miss the first 3 to 4 games with an injury coming off from last year, but right in time for SEC play, which is exactly what we need.
Yep.
It's crazy. Like, people say, is Dart gonna have good chemistry with Juice Wells? Is it gonna be chemistry with Deion Smith? I'm like, Trey Harris didn't play at all in the spring. Played a little bit in the summer, and look what happened. He was one of the best receivers in the SEC, if not the best.
Yeah.
Probably not the best, but he's top 5. And he's just so good at getting open. And Lane, with his offensive mastermind, knows how to work all these players. I just again, I wish it was August. I wish it was September.
Yeah.
I wish I could just snap my fingers in this football season. Fortunately, you can't. But it's just like, Ole Miss fans have been waiting. It's like last year, oh my God, are we going to beat Georgia? And we got blown out. And I think that Georgia loss was like, oh crap. Let's get some defense. Let's build the offense a little more. And this team's going to be so much better next year. And when you look at our schedule, our hardest game is we host Georgia. Florida's going to be a bottom feeder.
Swamp is still hard to play.
It's hard.
Not taking that away. We go to South Carolina, crazy environment, but they're not going to be big. Worry about the LSU game because, again, it is LSU, but it's just going to sound so dumb. But something with Ole Miss in Fayetteville. So there's always
something weird always happens
we
there.
We could be 7-0. They could be 0-7, and they'll still find a way to win in Fayetteville. So, again, Arkansas is not going to be as good, but, like, it's games like that are like, man, we're going to be so good, and then you lose at Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's like 2015 or 2014 with Bo Wallace. You beat Bama at home.
Everything's going right for you.
Everything's perfect, and you get 30-pieced at Fayetteville, in Fayetteville. It's just it's one of those haunted things, but again, positive signs. There's so much to look forward to, and again, can't wait.
Yeah, definitely a lot of excitement to look forward to. Preseason top 5, hopefully. But we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about all things Super Bowl.
The dynamic freshman is starting to make his impact.
Dagger with the shot clock down to 1. That 3-ball drops for Jamin Brakefield.
Fagan from the corner with a triple. Farrell for 3, and that's a big response. 3-ball, yes. Miss shooting lights out of the pavilion.
Ed, give him one more.
Wow, alley-oop. No, you can't teach that. Well, that should give Ole Miss a boost.
Creating a legacy takes time, takes dedication, spirit, and a greater vision. That vision starts here at the University of Mississippi. What will you be remembered by? Your character, your contributions, your friendship. Your legacy will define who we are now and who we are becoming for our state, our students, and our future. Ole Miss, build your legacy.
Welcome back to Rebelwatch. Well, it's obviously Super Bowl week, and the matchup is going to be the 49ers and the Chiefs. Was this the matchup y'all were expecting?
I would say no, but I could see why these two teams did make it to the Super Bowl. Great offenses, and during the playoffs, the Chiefs, their defense has been on fire this year. 49ers, Brock Purdy, obviously, but their defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL. But it's going to be a great game, I believe. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm going to go 31-30. I just believe that Patrick...
Against your team.
Oh, no, this ain't my team.
You're not a 49ers
No, I'm a Saints fan.
That is where you're from.
Sacramento to New Orleans?
Dad from New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
That's fair.
But I just feel like Patrick Mahomes has too much up his sleeve, and he's going to get that third ring. I don't want to see Taylor Swift, though, on the field. Like, I can see her during the game, but on the field, if there's any whiff of Travis Kelce proposing,
No, he's not going to propose.
I'm done.
But y'all are haters. That's fine. That's fine. Who are you expecting? Who do you want to win? Not want to win, but predicting.
Who's gonna
win? I know
win?
who you want to win.
Who's gonna win?
Who's gonna win?
Well, first let me start off by saying the NFC and AFC championships were both really good games, and it shows, like you said, the Chiefs defense is so good. They scored 0 points in the second half and still held the Ravens like a really good offense with Lamar Jackson, who could possibly win MVP, to just 10 points. One of the biggest head scratchers in that game was the Zay Flowers fumble on the 1. Oh, that was it was a perfect play. He ran in and gets oh my God, I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
It's the football guys that's like, let's get Taylor Swift to the Super Bowl. No, I'm joking. But again, and in the second game, it's the Niners that are just they've been fantastic throughout the regular season, but in the playoffs, they came from behind against the Packers. They were down 24-7 in the halftime versus the Lions. It only took them 8 minutes to tie that game back up with a couple turnovers, but it just shows you how the Niners very easily could have gone to the halftime, but to go home. Like it's the Lions here; it's meant to be, and they came out and it was not long. It was pretty damn fast. They should have won by 10. but they had that late last minute touchdown on 4th and goal. Lions, super good team. They'll be back. I have no doubt in my mind. But when you look at this matchup,
Dan Campbell was sounding kind of negative though after the game.
Well, Dan Campbell, why are you going for it on 4th and 3? Why?
Yeah, I mean,
Kick the field goal. Would have been a 47-yard field goal.
He did it all season. Yeah. He did it all season. He stuck with it. His team knew what he was going to do.
You got to respect it.
His team knew.
And looking at the Super Bowl matchup, you never bet against Mahomes. But you know what else you don't do? Bet against the public, and the public is all over the Chiefs. That's where the Niners are going to secure it. It feels like, oh, this is the Taylor Swift year. It's gonna be perfect. Brock Purdy and that offense, they haven't looked good. That's why all the public is leading toward Patrick Mahomes, because he is undefeated as an underdog, and they are underdogs in this game. It's Las Vegas. The lights are bright. Usher's at halftime. It's gonna be an insane game. I got Niners winning 24-20.
One thing I will say, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift is 10 times better than seeing the Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
I can
so true.
100% agree with that.
So true. Okay.
What about you? Who do you got winning it all?
Oh, the Chiefs. Duh.
Why? Taylor Swift?
No, just Mahomes. I mean, I like Brock Purdy, I do, but I just don't think this is his year. That's all.
Fair statement.
Not a fan of Anna Fry?
No.
Who?
It's the TikTok trend going on right now. But again, I just cannot wait. It's gonna be a blast.
Okay, well, we'll see how it all pans out, but that's all we have for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to Rebel Watch, and make sure to tune in next week. Thank you and good night.